Clowns have always been a part of childhood memories. For many, they bring back images of bright balloons, painted faces, and laughter echoing through crowded birthday parties or bustling circus tents. There's a certain magic in the way a clown can twist a balloon into a dog or pull a coin from behind a child's ear, making the impossible seem real for just a moment. Parents snap photos, children squeal with delight, and for a while, the world feels lighter, more colorful, and safe. But beneath the painted smiles and oversized shoes, there's something about clowns that unsettles us. Maybe it's the way their expressions are frozen in place, hiding whatever they might really be feeling. Maybe it's the way they move, too exaggerated, too unpredictable. Or maybe it's the stories we've all heard, whispered at sleepovers or shared in the dark corners of the internet, about clowns who aren't there to make you laugh. What if the clown you met wasn't there to bring joy? What if, behind the mask, there was something much darker waiting to be revealed? Tonight, you'll hear 3 true stories that will make you rethink every childhood memory you have of clowns. These aren't just tales of bad parties or awkward performances. They're real accounts of encounters that turned laughter into terror. Most people never see the dark side of clowns. These stories will make you wonder who's really behind the mask. It was supposed to be the perfect birthday. 8-year-old Lily had been talking about her party for months, and her parents wanted to make it unforgettable. They rented a bouncy castle, ordered a cake shaped like a unicorn, and invited every kid in her class. But the real highlight was the clown, a last-minute booking after Lily begged for one just like she'd seen in her favorite cartoons. The flyer promised Giggles the Clown, laughter for all ages. He was supposed to arrive at 2 o'clock sharp. When the doorbell rang, Lily's mom opened the door to find a clown standing on the porch, his costume a little faded, his red wig slightly askew. He introduced himself as Giggles, his voice cheerful but oddly flat. The parents shrugged off the odd first impression, eager to keep the party on schedule. Giggles began his act in the backyard, juggling plastic pins and making balloon animals. The children laughed, but the adults noticed something off. His jokes were strange, sometimes mean-spirited, and he seemed to single out certain kids, making them the butt of his jokes until they squirmed with discomfort. As the party went on, Giggles' behavior grew more unsettling. He wandered away from the group, peering into windows and lingering near the house's side gate. At one point, Lily's mom found him alone in the kitchen, rummaging through drawers. When she asked what he was doing, he just smiled and said he was looking for more fun. She felt a chill but tried to brush it off, telling herself he was just committed to staying in character. The children's laughter faded as Giggles' act became more bizarre. He started telling stories that weren't funny at all. Stories about children who wandered off and never came back, about parties that ended in tears. He handed out balloon animals twisted into strange, unrecognizable shapes, and when one little boy started to cry, Giggles leaned in close and whispered something that made the child run to his mother, sobbing. Lily's father decided it was time for the clown to leave. He approached Giggles, thanked him for coming, and handed him the agreed-upon payment. But Giggles didn't take the money. Instead, he stared at Lily, his painted smile unmoving, and said, "The real fun starts after the party." Then he turned and walked out the back gate, disappearing down the street. The family tried to shake off the encounter, but that night, Lily woke up screaming. She said she saw Giggles standing outside her window, waving. Her parents rushed to her room, but when they looked outside, there was no one there. The next morning, they found muddy footprints beneath her window and a twisted balloon animal hanging from the tree in the backyard. Disturbed, Lily's parents called the entertainment company to complain. The woman on the phone sounded confused. She said Giggles had called in sick that morning and hadn't worked any parties that weekend. No one from their company had been sent to their address. When they described the clown, the woman's voice dropped to a whisper. She said there had been other complaints, other parties where a clown showed up uninvited, always leaving behind frightened children and uneasy parents. The police were called, but there was little they could do. No one knew who the man was or how he'd found out about the party. The family changed the locks, installed security cameras, and never hired another clown. Lily's birthday photos, once a source of joy, became a reminder of the day laughter turned to fear. What the family discovered about the clown will haunt them forever. To this day, Lily refuses to talk about that birthday, and her parents still wonder who or what was really behind the mask. Clowns have been around for centuries. Their painted faces and exaggerated antics meant to bring joy and laughter. But beneath the surface, there's always been something unsettling about them. Psychologists even have a term for it, coulrophobia, the fear of clowns, a fear so common that it's estimated nearly half of all adults feel uneasy around them. Maybe it's the way their true emotions are hidden behind layers of makeup, or the way their smiles never quite reach their eyes. Throughout history, clowns have appeared not just in circuses and parties, but in some of the world's darkest stories. In the 1980s, a wave of clown sightings swept across America, with reports of clowns luring children into the woods or appearing outside schools. Some were hoaxes, but others were never explained. Even today, news stories occasionally surface about mysterious clowns spotted late at night, standing motionless on street corners or peering into windows. There's something about a clown out of place, away from the bright lights and laughter, that feels wrong, even dangerous. If you thought the first story was disturbing, the next one will make you fear the night. Most people never expect to see a clown after dark, but for some, that's when the real nightmare begins. 17-year-old Marcus had always considered himself fearless. He'd grown up in a quiet suburb where nothing ever happened, and he often walked home from his friend's house late at night, headphones in, lost in his own world. One Friday in October, Marcus left a movie marathon just after midnight, the streets empty and silent except for the occasional hum of a distant car. The air was crisp, and the only light came from the scattered street lamps lining the sidewalk. As he turned onto his street, Marcus noticed something strange ahead, a figure standing perfectly still beneath a flickering streetlight. At first, he thought it was a prank, maybe someone in a costume left over from a Halloween party. But as he got closer, his stomach tightened. The figure was dressed in a clown suit, the colors faded and dirty, the face painted in a grotesque grin that seemed to stretch too wide. The clown didn't move, didn't speak, just stared at Marcus with unblinking eyes. Marcus tried to laugh it off, telling himself it was just someone trying to scare him. He crossed to the other side of the street, keeping his eyes on the clown. But as he passed, the clown slowly turned its head to follow him, the smile never wavering. Marcus picked up his pace, glancing back every few steps. The clown remained under the streetlight, motionless, until Marcus was nearly a block away. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw the clown begin to walk, slow, deliberate steps, following him down the street. Panic set in. Marcus broke into a jog, then a run, his heart pounding in his chest. He ducked into a side alley, hoping to lose his pursuer. But when he looked back, the clown was there, standing at the mouth of the alley, head tilted to one side. Marcus's phone was dead, and the houses on the street were dark, their occupants asleep. He considered banging on a door for help, but something about the clown's presence made him feel trapped, as if calling for help would only make things worse. He darted through backyards, leaping over fences, desperate to put distance between himself and the clown. But every time he looked back, the clown was there, never running, always walking, always closing the gap. Marcus's lungs burned, his legs ached, but fear kept him moving. He finally reached his own backyard, scrambling up the porch steps and fumbling with his keys. As he glanced over his shoulder, he saw the clown standing at the edge of his yard, half hidden in the shadows, watching. Marcus burst through the door, locking it behind him. He pressed his back against the wood, listening for any sound, but the night was silent. He crept to his bedroom window and peered outside. The clown was gone. He barely slept that night, jumping at every creak and groan of the house. The next morning, Marcus found a balloon animal on his porch, a twisted, grinning face with hollow eyes. He never saw the clown again, but for weeks he felt watched, uneasy whenever he walked alone at night. He told his friends, but they laughed it off, calling it a Halloween prank. But Marcus knew what he saw, and the fear never really left him. To this day, no one knows who or what was behind the mask. Some say it was just a person playing a sick joke, but Marcus is certain there was something more. Sometimes, the things that follow you in the dark aren't just figments of your imagination. Sometimes they're real, and they're waiting for you to let your guard down. Imagine walking home alone, the world around you silent and still, only to realize you're not alone at all. What would you do if you saw a clown standing motionless under a streetlight, its painted smile fixed on you, its eyes never blinking? Would you run, call for help, or try to convince yourself it was just a trick of the light? Most of us like to believe we'd be brave, but fear has a way of freezing us in place, making even the most familiar streets feel like a maze with no escape. Stories like Marcus's remind us that horror doesn't always wait for the right moment. It can find us in the places we feel safest, at the times we least expect. The line between a harmless prank and real danger is thinner than we think, and sometimes it's impossible to tell the difference until it's too late. If you thought the last story was unsettling, the final one will make you question every memory you have of carnivals and fairs. The next story is the most disturbing of all, because it happened in a place meant for fun, surrounded by lights, laughter, and crowds. The next story will make you think twice about visiting a carnival. The county fair was the highlight of every summer, a place where the air smelled of popcorn and cotton candy, and the night sky glowed with neon lights. For Mia and her friends, the carnival was a tradition, rides, games, and laughter echoing through the maze of booths and attractions. That year, the group was determined to make the most of it, snapping photos, winning stuffed animals, and daring each other to ride the rickety Ferris wheel after dark. As the evening wore on, they noticed a clown weaving through the crowd. His costume was old-fashioned, with oversized shoes and a faded polka-dot suit. His face paint was smeared, the red smile crooked, and his eyes seemed to linger too long on anyone who met his gaze. At first, the group laughed it off, joking about creepy clowns and urban legends. But as they moved from ride to ride, the clown always seemed to be nearby, watching, never smiling, never speaking. Mia tried to ignore the uneasy feeling growing in her stomach. But when she glanced over her shoulder and saw the clown standing at the edge of the bumper cars, staring directly at her, she felt a chill run down her spine. Her friends noticed too, and the group decided to stick together, moving quickly through the crowded midway. They ducked into the funhouse, hoping to lose him in the maze of mirrors and flashing lights. But inside, the laughter faded as they realized they were alone. The distorted reflections made it hard to tell what was real and what was just a trick of the glass. Suddenly, Mia caught a glimpse of the clown's face in one of the mirrors, closer than she expected. She spun around, but the hallway was empty. Panic set in as the group hurried through the twisting corridors, the sound of footsteps echoing behind them. They burst out of the exit, breathless, only to find the clown waiting just outside, blocking their path. He raised a gloved hand and waved, the gesture slow and deliberate. The friends pushed past him, hearts pounding, and ran toward the main stage where the crowds were thickest. For the rest of the night, the clown was never far behind. He appeared at the edge of the crowd during the fireworks, stood near the ticket booth as they tried to leave, and even followed them to the parking lot. When they reached their car, Mia fumbled with the keys, her hands shaking. As they pulled away, she looked back and saw the clown standing under a flickering streetlight, watching them drive off, his painted smile barely visible in the darkness. The next morning, Mia found a carnival prize on her porch, a small, battered clown doll with a note that read, "See you next year." She never told her parents, but she and her friends agreed never to return to the fair. Over the years, they heard rumors of other people seeing the same clown, always at the edge of the crowd, always watching, always silent. The identity of the clown was never discovered, and some say he still follows the carnival to this day, waiting for the next group of friends to notice him in the crowd, waiting for the next person to look away first. Clowns are supposed to bring laughter, but sometimes, behind the painted smiles and bright costumes, something much darker waits to be seen. The stories you've heard tonight are reminders that horror can hide in plain sight, turning moments of joy into memories you wish you could forget. A birthday party, a midnight walk, a night at the carnival. Each began with excitement and ended in fear, leaving questions that may never be answered. How many clowns are hiding in plain sight, blending into crowds, waiting for the perfect moment to step out of the shadows? Most people will never know the truth behind the mask, never see the danger until it's too late. But for those who have, the memory lingers long after the laughter fades. There are even more terrifying clown stories out there, some too disturbing to share. Will you ever look at a clown the same way again?